The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown. The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown.
Yes. Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And once again, hey, welcome to the South Florida Live podcast. Listen, I'm your host, Jeffrey Brown. And as we always say, this is today that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Hey, y'all, come on in. Join us on this evening. Hey, listen, we are celebrating and honoring and bringing forth and spotlighting Domestic Violence Awareness Month this month. And we have an episode for you tonight. You do not want to miss, because we are talking to a survivor tonight. Yeah, so you don't want to miss tonight. Come on, join us tonight. Facebook, you know what to do. It says it's right there. Like and share. Like and share. Let us know that you're there. Like and share. Also, if you're watching us by YouTube, I need you to hit the like and share button also. Do that for me, please. And guess what? If it's your first time viewing us on YouTube, on YouTube, I need you to hit the subscribe button, if you will. Once you hit that subscribe button, I need you to hit notification. I need you to hit that little bell and then click all. And that way you'll get notified every time we go live. Would you do that for me? Thank you.
Even when I thought that I was no good, you still cared for me, and I am still surviving.
I'm still surviving. Yes, let's go. YouTube, Facebook, join us on tonight. It's the conversation. Hey, listen, those that are viewing us by Facebook, if you will, if you can, please tag at least 10 people. Let them know the South Florida Live podcast is on. You don't want to miss this conversation on tonight. Tag at least 10. Tag somebody. Let somebody know that the South Florida Live podcast is on. And we are talking to a survivor, because we are spotlighting Domestic Violence Month on tonight. If you will, can you do that for me, please? Can you do that for me, please? Thank you. We're going to give you guys about 30 seconds to get it done. Let's do it. 30 seconds, if you will. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for those that are joining us. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Just do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the like and share button, if you will. Everyone that's coming on, hit the like and share button. We are spotlighting Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We are talking to a survivor tonight, so you do not want to miss this episode. Thank you for those that's joining. Let me hear from you. If you out there, let me hear from you. Good evening. Give me a shout out. Say good evening to me. Let me know you're there. Let me know everything is well. Everything is sounding good. The vision is good. The sound is good. The signal is good. If you will.
Christ, I'm a survivor. Come to know that God is light and watch your.
Thank you for joining. Everyone that's come on, please hit that share button. Would you hit the share button for me? Thank you.
All my battles in this life is so much pressure on me, but all my trials and my tests are not my testimony. Thankful for life and all the time God took a blessing on me, and now I see through everything that I was never lonely.
Thank you for joining us. Please hit the share button for me. Those that are viewing by Facebook and YouTube, like and share, please. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Elaine Nelson, good evening. God bless you. Peace and blessings to you, sister. Thank you for joining us on this evening, my dear. Hey, like and share. Good evening to everyone that's coming on. Hit that like and share button for me, please. 15 seconds. I need you tagging tonight. I need you tagging tonight. You need to be tagging some folks tonight in Facebook. Please tag some people. Good evening, Miss Green. God bless you. Peace and blessings. Thank you, ma'am.
Still surviving, thriving, thanking God for all the God. Still surviving, thriving.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the South Florida Live podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Brown, and we are spotlighting domestic violence awareness month on tonight. We're talking to a survivor, y'all. Thank you for everyone that shared. Thank you. All right, it's that time. Listen, thank you for everyone that's coming on. Thank you for everyone that's viewing on tonight. Please, once again, if you're viewing by Facebook, please hit that share button. If you're viewing by YouTube, please hit the share button. Facebook, tag at least 10 people. I need you tagging. I need you tagging tonight because we are speaking with a survivor on tonight, and you do not want to miss this evening episode on tonight. Y'all listen, it's going to be powerful. I'm telling you, it's going to be powerful. It's going to be powerful. So you don't want to miss tonight. Would you do that for me? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone that's joined us. Thank you for everyone that's sharing it. Listen, I hope everybody experienced some peace and blessings on today, and you had a productive day on today. I always say, if you went to work and you made it back home, you survived today. So that makes you a survivor. So thank God for you being able to survive all the seen and unseen accidents that you could have experienced, but God shield you and he block you, and thank God for that. So you are a survivor. Tell yourself, I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm gonna my sister is with me, the one and only Dr. Howard Burton. I am so excited. Y'all don't understand how excited I am to have her on this podcast with me on tonight. She reached out to me some time ago, and I know she thought I wasn't gonna reach back to her, but in timing. So hey, she's on with me. She's co-hosting with me on tonight for this episode tonight, and it's one over my sister, my friend, Dr. Deborah Howard Burton. Good evening to you, my sister. God bless you.
Good evening. Good evening to everybody watching tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown, for bringing this topic to the forefront and for your audience to hear. I'm excited what we're going to talk about tonight. It's a topic sometimes we think that we say it so much that we get immune to it, but tonight we really want to make an impact on those who are listening, those who might be going through it. And so we just want to give some strategies. And I'm excited also about the young lady who has survived, who was a victim who has survived being in domestic violence. And so thank you so much for the platform.
No, it's my honor. It's my pleasure to have you. And thank you for reaching out to make it happen, because I love to spotlight this area. I do it often. as much as I can, whenever I can, every year, basically. Since I've been doing anything with radio or now on this platform or podcast, I've always wanted to spotlight this area of domestic violence because, like we said, it's happening and it's happening sometime in silence. And for someone to come out and want to share their testimony, share their story of them being a survivor, I listen. I respect them. I give them all praise and I lift them up. I'm excited about what my Sabrina is going to bring to us on tonight. Listen, so we don't want to wait. We want to keep her waiting. I'm excited. I'm excited. I don't know about nobody else. I'm excited. But hey, listen, you viewing by Facebook, please tag and share. Please tag and share. Please tag and share. Please
Yes.
tag and share because you don't want to miss this. Because you know what? We said it in the back in the green room before we came out that this can it's a lot of sisters and brothers that's out there that this may touch, this may bless them, this may encourage them to also be able to come to the point where they can share their testimony, their story of their surviving. So we listen. I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay. All right. So hey, listen. We are gonna bring her on. It's one of our survivors on this week for us on tonight. The one and only Miss Sabrina Cromani. And listen, I'm so excited to have her. Good evening, my sister. God bless you. Peace and blessings to you.
Peace and blessings to you all. Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm ready to go so I can encourage somebody, motivate somebody.
I
I'm ready to
love
go.
I love it. I love it. All right. So I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm gonna just step back a little bit because I'm gonna let y'all have it. Dr.
That's all right.
Burton, God bless you. I mean, I know she has some things she want to talk to you and share and ask you and we're gonna get right in it. We're gonna get right in, we're gonna join and we're gonna have this fun conversation. All right.
All right,
Okay.
thank you so much. Before we go, just to give a little bit of background about myself,
Yes.
I'm a former victim advocate with the Broward County Sheriff's Office, where I worked for over 38 years, and 34 of those years I was a victim advocate. And in being a victim advocate, I assist victims of crime, and 90% of my cases were domestic violence related. And
Mm,
so I have the knowledge and the background, the education that, and also I've had family members who've been victims of domestic violence. And so some of the things I will share, just so we all know that October is National Domestic Violence Month. It's also called Intimate Partner Violence. So sometimes those words are used interchangeably. And so when we talk about domestic violence, it's changed so much from when I started before. So it's no longer as we might think of, and we're going to talk about that a little bit for the next 3 weeks, male and female. We have to understand that society has changed. So it is now gay, lesbian, transgender, queer. Everyone could be a victim of domestic violence. The laws are different throughout the United States. So we know in the state of Florida, it is a family and or household member who reside together as if a family. So we don't want to get too much into that, but because this is seen throughout the United States, the laws are different. But one thing is for sure, domestic violence is occurring. And as we get ready to we'll talk about it later on, is we want to talk about why do some people stay? And I know Sabrina, we talked before, she's going to get in that. But one thing I do want to say is for anybody, and we're going to give the hotline number, who is a victim of domestic violence, you might seem like you're alone. You might seem like you're embarrassed or ashamed, but our hope is that after tonight, in the next few weeks, that you will get the courage and we can give you some strategies to be able to make that first step. And I always tell people, don't judge nobody because you don't know what you would do until you're there. You might say why she leaves, why she stays, or why he leaves, why he stays. And I also want to make the disclaimer that although 60 to 80% of the victims or survivors are women, so we are not male bashing. So I don't want anybody write into Brother Jeff's show and say, hey, they're male bashing. We're not doing that. But we're looking at about 78% of the victims or survivors are women. And so that's why some of our language will go to. But A little bit of background: domestic violence is abusive behavior. We all know it's physical. We all can see somebody that's being physical, but it's also verbal. And that's somebody calling you names. You're stupid. You're ugly. No one's going to ever want you. You can be as pretty as you want to be, but because of things that have happened in your past, because of the trauma in the past, those name callings begin to stick with you. Emotional abuse, disgrading you, criticizing you in front of people, sexual abuse, contrary to popular belief that you can be raped in a marriage. And I don't want to get too much into that, but you can be raped in a marriage. So it's sexual abuse. It's economical abuse. Someone who has control of all the finances. They don't allow you to work. They don't allow you to keep a bank account. And it's also technology, the stalking, especially now with computers, with Facebook, with iPhones, they're monitoring you. So these are all the ways, don't want to get into too much, of what domestic violence can look like. Now, as we begin to talk tonight, and Sister Sabrina shares her testimony, we don't want you now to become a private eye and say, you are the victim of domestic violence. No, you don't need to do that. But we want to increase your awareness in case you see somebody that it is 95 degrees outside and they are wearing a sweater and a turtleneck. And that could be a red flag. And we're going to talk about that. That could be a red flag that maybe something is wrong or something's going on. So that is just a little brief synopsis of domestic violence. Domestic violence also involves children. We'll talk about that later on. The children who witness domestic violence statistically has shown that they will either be a perpetrator or survivor of domestic violence because it's what they see. Domestic violence is learned behavior. I don't say anything else. Domestic violence is learned behavior. And so with that, just a little bit of introduction about domestic violence. Let's bring in Sabrina. Let's share a little bit of what I've stated, and we'll go from that. If some of that was you in your environment that you grew up in, being violent, go ahead.
None of it was in my growing up years. However, in the 17-year abusive relationship that I chose to stay in, everything was in that. It was emotional, it was sexual, it was physical, it was verbal, all of that into one. And I didn't see it growing up. I didn't see it in my parents. I didn't see it in my friends. Um, I think that where I went wrong was that I had very low self-esteem of myself as a lady. I was overweight at the time. Um, and I just thought maybe, nobody really wanted an overweight, as pretty as I was and am, still is right now. I thought that nobody would want me. So my abuser was a boyfriend of mine that I had been seeing for a very long time. And I guess with me having low self-esteem and him telling me I was pretty, that drew me to him. And when you're young, well, not everybody, but when I finished high school, I was young and I was dumb, and I called myself I was stupid because you make crazy decisions. So you decide, because you got all the sense in the world, let me just try to play house. Because if your self-esteem is low, you don't think about your self-worth. You think about, let me just get in and move in and check in, and it was okay. That did a lot of damage to me because my grandmother always say, well, who's going to buy the cow when they're getting the milk for free? And I never understood that growing up. But I was just giving all the milk away. So why would he buy the cow? Why would he ask me to marry him? Why would he treat, because everything was given to him. And what you said earlier, Miss Deborah, was that it's a learned behavior. I stayed in this abusive relationship for 17 years. 17 years, right out of high school, and 17 years after that. I finished high school in 1980. My case was something different because, see, domestic violence is something like cancer, which I'm also a 7-year breast cancer survivor as well. Domestic violence is like cancer. It's a silent killer. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to get involved because 9 times out of 10, the victim go right back. And if I can tell you how many times I left my abuser in black garbage bags and drugged them right back, you would want to beat me over the head with a stick yourself. But victims have a tendency to go back, and I went back several times. Now, in my abuse, you never saw my bruises on the outside. Um, you never saw me with a tie. You never saw me with a broken arm or anything. But if you looked at me, you would see the sadness in my eyes. If you really looked at me, if you really knew me, you knew something was wrong with me. And the reason why I stayed, let me just add this: I never had any kids. So that goes to show that God knows what He was doing. Never gave me any kids. So I never had any kids from my abuser. And I grew up with him. We went to the same elementary school together, which was a Catholic school. And from that, we went to public school. The Catholic school only started from kindergarten to eighth grade. So he went his way after eighth grade, and I went mine. Different schools, but still my boyfriend. So we moved in together, and my abuse started very simple, like most cases, with a slap. When you are abused, and when you're pushed and you're shoved and you're slapped, and your abuser immediately starts saying, "I apologize, I'm so sorry," that's when the act starts right there. They're on stage. They can audition for a Broadway play and get the part because they have to prove to you that
Wow.
they're sorry. You
Let me,
can, sure, go ahead.
Serena, because your story is interesting, but I want to stop while I'm thinking because you said something, and most people don't understand low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about low self-esteem, although you said that you were heavier,
Mm-hmm.
but you were pretty, and sometimes it could be you're pretty, and you still have low self-esteem. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You have all the money in the world and still have low self-esteem. You can have
Absolutely.
all of this and still have low self-esteem. So it's interesting. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Because sometimes society depicts what a domestic violence victim is supposed to quote unquote look like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
a cookie cutter case, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to just piggyback on what you said because I found that also that domestic violence. I have dealt with domestic violence survivors who lived out in Weston, and I have gone to their
Yeah.
house. They
Mm-hmm.
have the doctors, money, and all that, and we're going to talk about why they stayed. So it's not so much of what we might think of someone in a low social economical
Right.
area that they're only ones. And you said that, and it's so important. I want people to listen to your testimony that you stayed for 17 years,
Mm-hmm.
and and you left and you came back, and I'm glad you said that. It's because a lot of times it's trauma bonding. People don't understand
Mm-hmm.
that survivors, it's me, we get on a high horse. Me, child, I would leave the first time he slapped me. You don't know.
Don't know.
You don't know. And so I'm glad that you have the courage to say, I stayed for 17 years and you went back. And so I would like to ask, and somebody, why did you go back so many times? I know particularly why some women go, but just so share the audience, they'll know, because they're saying you stayed for 17 years. How could you stay? You had no children, you
Mm-hmm.
had no this, and you had a good job. So what made you stay for 17 years?
I stayed because as women, we are nurturers. We think we can fix it.
Mhm.
Oh well, he hit me this. Well, he just pushed me. It's okay.
Mhm.
He didn't
Yeah.
slap me that hard. I don't see a bruise. My face is not red, so I can fix this. And
Yes.
when he make up, if you think that that's love and that's what you think, then it's like, okay, bro, he was the bomb. Okay, he's sorry. And for a few days or maybe a few weeks in some cases, they show you that they're sorry.
Hmm. Hmm.
Flowers and candy. And since this is
Wow.
brother Jeff's podcast, good sex. In
Hmm.
your mind, you think it's good because they're making
Hmm.
up. So you
Hmm.
fall for that.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
And you just fall right into the trap. But you're also cognizant in your mind.
Yes.
I got to not make him mad. So you're walking around on eggshells, trying
Yeah.
not to make this person mad. And it's really a uncomfortable life to live, but you become used to it. It's a
Yes.
learned behavior, like you said.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is what I adopted for 17 years. Um, and believe it or not, I thought, oh, I'm gonna fix it. He'll change. It'll get
Mhm.
better. He'll stop.
Mhm.
Um, the shoving went to slapping. The slapping went to punching. I recall one incident. I had made him. He had gotten angry for something, and he literally put handcuffs on me because he was afraid I was going to leave again. And he said, "Well, you won't leave tonight." So I was handcuffed, and I left that time again and went right back. You know, it's a cycle, and it's like just like domestic violence, it's a cycle, and you fall into it because you think that you can fix this. You think you can fix this man or this woman, and but you can't. You know, you cannot. And I
And,
tried to fix it. Wanted children, believe it or not, wanted children, because you think that you're in love. You think, okay, well, he's sorry, we made up, he's better, whatever. You know, okay, I'll just go for it. But I also stayed out of fear.
there, yes,
Fear
yeah.
is very, very detrimental
Yeah.
in a violent relationship or marriage because you fear for your life, and they threaten you. They threaten your family members. If you
Yes.
leave me, I was told specifically how I would take your mom, your dad, your sister out. So of course you're afraid, and you say, well, I'll just stay. I'll make up and I'll just do things that he likes. You walk on eggshells
Yes.
and you try to fix it, and it's not fixable. The only way that an abusive relationship, and I will say this, that anyone can get out of, it's two ways. It's leaving and not returning, or it's death. I
And
don't see no other way out of an abusive relationship but two ways. So I begin to get more into my relationship with God. And I went to a meeting one time and they told me about an exit plan. You can't just leave a
safety plan. Yes.
relationship without an exit plan.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Right.
have to know where to go.
Right.
Me, as an example, I had no kids, so I didn't have to worry about schools or nothing like that. I always had good jobs and everything. And believe it or not, I did 25 years at the school board police at the Miami-Dade County Public Schools Police Department. So when this was going on, that's where I was working.
Now let me
So
ask
I,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I got a question for you, Doc. I got a question for you.
Okay.
And you guys kind of you talked on it, but I want to hear some of your what are some of the replies that you have received?
Mhm.
The question that I want to ask is, and I heard Sabrina, she was saying about her stand, but Doc, why do victims sometimes return to or stay with the abuser? What are some of the replies or some of the answers you have got? Because I'm sure in your study in your area that you had conversation with some of the victims.
Mhm.
What was some of their reasoning?
Thank you so much. That's a good question. And Sabrina said some of it is fear. Some of it is fear. Some of it is that if you leave me, I'm going to kill you. Some people stay because of the children. I'd rather him beat me than and know my children is all right. You know what I mean? So I'm going to return to him because of children. Some of them feel there's a thin line between love and hate. That was an old song back in the 50s with there's a thin line between love and hate. And you hate the person, what they're doing, but you love the person with your heart. And so that's why some people think stay. We can't fathom that. That's why some people return. We don't understand how much that bond is of love. And I'm glad Sabrina said that because you nurture him. I can do right. He only hits me when he gets upset. He only screams at me when he drinks. He only slaps me when he's had a hard day at work. And I'm the only thing that he's close enough to it. So if he can do that, maybe if there's 24 hours a day and maybe he just does that about 7, 8 hours a day, then the other time, then I'm going to be all right. You know what I mean? And I'm staying because I don't know what y'all church is going to say. I don't know what my family's going to say. I'm staying because I saw my mom and my dad. I saw my mom get screamed at and beat up by my dad. And then on Sunday, I saw him cooking biscuits cooking biscuits and breakfast for. So that's learned behavior for me. That's how a family stays together. That's how we do it. And so you don't understand why I'm staying. I'm staying because of my own peace of mind, because this is all I know. Because I haven't had nobody break the cycle on me, because mentally this is learned behavior, and so it's called learned helplessness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay. And I've had women tell me that. I've had a family member where we helped get out, help them get to another state, put them somewhere else, and Lord behold, 24 hours later they was back in the car. But what I said is I understand, and that's what we have to do. Those, and we're going to talk about those who want to help. They have to make the decision, because domestic violence is power and control. And so if I make her go back, then I'm like the abuser. You got to do this. You got to get a restrainer. You got to do this. No, you have to make the decision. I will help you, but I'm not going to make you, because now what it is, I'm like the abuser, because now I have the power. I'm telling her what to do. I can guide you, but I can't make you do it. Because if not, I'm doing the same characteristics as the abuser did. Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, wow, that is good. Now I have a question for Sabrina. I'm gonna go back in my box.
No, stay.
Sabrina, through those 17 years at the beginning, or I don't know how long, what were there? I know there was a. How did you handle, or how was your, how am I want to say this? Did you ever wanted to share this with anyone that's close to you, a friend, a church member, but you were concerned about what they would think and what they would tell you? But was there, at what point did you finally say, you know what, I need to let somebody know about this?
Honestly, Brother Jeff, I wanted to tell somebody, but when you have a certain status, when you always think that you're a diva, and because divas can have, as Ms. Brown said, divas can have low self-esteem as well. You feel ashamed. You have an image to uphold. And because my bruises were not visible, I was able to hide it. I wouldn't dare go and tell somebody that, oh, he beat me last night with some speaker wires, or he he punched me in my arm, or whatever, he slapped my face or whatever, because you're ashamed. That's nothing that you go and you tell your friends. I didn't do it because I was ashamed. And I just wouldn't do it, so I stayed. And like Ms. Brown said, it became a learned behavior. So it was nothing that you talked about. But the only way that victims can get out are the two ways I said earlier. And they have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I got sick and tired of being beaten on. So the last time, my jaw was fractured. And I couldn't speak because he had beaten me just that bad. Because because I caught him with another woman. Really? So you beat me and you drive away with the woman and leave me standing there. So once I got back to the house, that's when the beating occurred. And I couldn't talk. And I will never forget, he wanted to know basically, how did I know he was there? And I didn't tell him. So my jaw was fractured. And he told me, you're going to tell me tonight, or you're going to die. So he passed me a pen and piece of paper and told me to write it since I couldn't talk.
Wow.
So I wrote the name down he told me. And I stayed in that house for a week. 1 week. And every day when he went to work, I would take a few clothes out or whatever, and a little bit of clothes out. And I just said, I'm sick of this. I couldn't talk. I couldn't go to work because I couldn't speak. And I said, let me get me a plane ticket. And I got a plane ticket to Tampa to my grandparents' home. They're deceased now. And I left. That week I stayed there, I got one thing I was doing up there, I was reading my Bible. And you have to have a relationship with the Lord. If you don't, you're going back, because you're going to go on your emotions. And your emotions and your heart. That's why your head is up here and your heart is down here. because your head can think faster. They're in the right positions, and you know what's below your heart. I'm not going there. So when you think with the lower part of your body, you're not thinking straight. When you think with your heart, you're almost there. But when you think with your head and you can't speak, and you're at your grandmother's house and you can't talk, and I had to tell them what was going on at this time, and they told me, just stay here with us. But my life was here in Miami, my career, I didn't go right to college from high school because of this man. I didn't go to the prom because of this man. I didn't go to grad night because of him. He didn't want to take me, so I didn't go. So the learned behavior, Miss Brown, was that, okay, I just didn't go. So I missed all of that. But what I like to say is that when women are in abusive relationships, what I realized, I was there because I wanted to be there. I made decisions to stay there. I didn't have to stay there. Like Dr. Brown said, some women come from affluent homes. You have some countries that the women walk behind the man. This is customary to them, But I stayed there because I wanted to. I had parents, professional parents. I could have moved back home and gone to college, but I was in love and wasn't thinking with my head. I was thinking with something else.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
And also, I want to piggyback that even though a lot of times, in my experience and just dealing with countless survivors and victims of domestic violence, is sometimes the women or the men are so in love with the abuser that once, and we'll get into it because it's usually the tension building stage. It's this cycle domestic violence. It's a tension building stage. You're walking on eggshells, the explosive stage, and something happens. Then the honeymoon stage comes, and then the honeymoon stage, he or she is telling you everything you wanted to hear all the times when they're abusing you. I'm going to get counseling. I'm going to church. Here, let's go out to dinner. Here's a new car. Here's something else. And so you've been wanting to hear that for so long for the abuse. And now that you finally hear, well, maybe it's not so bad anyway. Well, maybe I'll just give him another chance. And then the honeymoon stage, and all of a sudden the abusive stage goes again. So it is a cycle. And so that's why we have to be careful when we're assisting or talking to survivors of domestic violence who are going in there, to understand that this stage or cycles of abuse is definitely real. And I want to piggyback on Sabrina, that even though, and I'm so glad that you were able, and I have a question, to find God as your refuge during that time. And we're going to talk about later on, but I want you all to know there's silent screams within the pews. There's people reading scriptures, quoting scriptures, and are reading the pews at home. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. Because this is real. Domestic violence, it doesn't matter who you are, it spreads across all social, economical, professional, however it is, violence is violence. And it's because, like you said, it's learned behavior. Not only learned behavior, look at the media. I talk a lot about dating violence. Look at the media, look at the social media, listen to the music that our young women are listening to, how it degrades women and how it's going on. So domestic violence is all of that. And so someone I saw put in the message, in the chat, is that one of the reasons, and I'm glad they put it, that they were afraid that they will be embarrassed or afraid of what the church would have to say. And so I'm listening to you, and you said that you worked in the police department, correct? And so were there any, I'm sorry, before I go back, because we want to talk about the red flags.
Okay.
Were there any red flags that you saw of this abuser before you all got together? And I want to talk a little bit about that in a minute. The red flags that we ignore.
Well, in my case, remember, this was my 6th grade boyfriend.
Okay.
So I didn't know what red flags were. This was my first boyfriend. This was the guy I decided to share my virginity with. So he was my first and only for a long time. So I was real blinded. I was worse than Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder.
My Lord.
So
blindness.
And, as you can see, I wore glasses. So I was really strung out.
So let me ask you this. So was there anything from 6th grade until 17 that you might have found was a little controlling? Because we know domestic violence is power and control. So was there anything, and that's why I call the red flags, anything that you might have said controlling? And I'll give you an instance where you go somewhere, and I use this scenario when I do training. You go somewhere, you're sitting down with your partner, young man, and you say, would you like to order? I would like tea. No, she doesn't. She wants coffee. No, I want tea. No, she wants coffee. So he talks to wait, I want coffee. So, and you're thinking, oh, he's so nice. You know, he's trying to tell me what I want. No, you have a mind. You want tea, you get tea. So that might be a little bit of red flag. Another red flag is we're going out. No, don't wear that. But this is what I want to wear. I don't want you to wear that. Now, and so now you go and change. These are little things that we have to understand in relationships. There is a fine line, and when you cross the line, then you know this is something I need to really pay attention to. Who are you talking to? Who are you texting? Let me see this. Where you going? How you doing? Calling you every 15 minutes. I love you. Oh, girl, he's just checking on me, honey. He ain't checking on you. He is controlling you, trying to find out where you are, what you're doing, and who you with. Those are the things that when I ask some of the red flags that we call them red flags, from the 6th grade into 17, whatever, did you see any tendencies that you couldn't say, but you loved them so much that you say, child, everything gonna be all right. This is my first, my own, my last, as Barry White would say, my everything.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The red flags were in 9th grade. I don't know if you all have ever heard of the bud of spring. My mom wanted me to be a bud of spring, and he did not want to escort me. I don't do dumb stuff like that. If you recall me saying earlier, I didn't go to grad night. I didn't go to prom because he didn't escort me. Yeah. So you find yourself making excuses. Oh, well, grad night, I don't want to go anyway. There's going to be too much noise, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the prom is just, blah, blah, blah. But the reason why I did not go, because he did not want to escort me. That's why. So you, like you said, it's a learned behavior. You make these excuses up for these abusers, and that becomes a part of you. Yeah. And that was the first red flag was the 9th grade. And I was, okay, well, and when you don't have an escort, that particular sorority provides one for you. Because my mom was like, oh, you're going to be a bud of spring. I spent my money. You're going to wear this pink dress. So, but it wasn't who I wanted to escort me, but I was one. You know, so then I never went to none of the high school activities because he didn't want to take me.
Wow.
Did not go.
And so with that being said then, and I'm listening to you, because when you're talking about someone who's going from the 6th grade and now you're in the 9th grade, you can't go to prom, you can't go to anything. Did you think that was just love?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, because he said, oh, that stuff is dumb and you don't need that. And why would you go and spend all blah, 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 blah. It's not like he was giving me any money. It was my parents, you know. But yes, he put that in my head that it wasn't important because it wasn't important to him. Control. He didn't want to do it, and he didn't want me to do it. And I didn't do it.
And did your parents ever pick up on something like this? Are you the only child?
No, I'm the eldest of two. Two girls. I'm not the only child. And mothers. If you're a mother, mothers know. Mothers,
I was gonna say that. Mama know. Mama know. Mama know.
Knew. But this is the thing. My abuser and I grew up together because we went to a private school. Okay. And the school was from K to 8th grade. His mother was a nurse. She's deceased now. My mother, still here, thank God, is a retired school teacher. So we grew up together. They were friends. And my mom was like, I said, I really don't. I convinced my mom. I don't want to go to grad night. It's not all that. It's too much money, Mom. You got to buy a gown for prom, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't really want to go. And they said, at that age, they said, okay, no problem. But my mom was disappointed because she wanted me to go to prom. But what I found out was everything, when I left the house, I graduated from Central, 1980, in the month of June. I moved in with this man in October, 1980. And everything that I didn't do, which I'm very proud to say, my sister behind me, she did. She left the house from high school, went to college. She went to prom, grad night, band. Everything that I should have done that I did not do because of him and my weakness, she did. So that was one good thing out of it. And I was very proud of her because I supported her because I didn't do it. And we're 7 years apart. So yes.
Wow. I want to ask this, and we're in that area because I want to ask about your parents, your mother, and you as a younger child, the conversation that was shared with you as a young lady growing up.
Hmm.
Um, I'm I'm sure you have wonderful parents. You had a wonderful mother. Anytime that any of those, the conversation that you had growing up, or did you have conversation with your mother coming up where kind of prepared you or warned you about some of the things that you experience now, you experienced then? Was there ever a conversation during that time of you growing up into as a child?
No, because remember, my bruises were hidden. I never got a black. I was able to hide it for a long time, a very long time. He never gave me a black eye. My lip was never busted. My eyes were never swollen. You know, the
No, no, I mean, as a say, from say 6, 7 years old up, what was the conversation that your mother had with you? Was there any conversation from 7 years old to high school? Was there any conversation that you and your mother had that she kind of was trying to prepare you or was sharing with you what experience like this, was in the future, how to avoid this, how to avoid
okay,
that you,
okay, I got you now.
if I'm saying it right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose
Oh,
him?
Sheila, come on back, come on back, come
Come
on
on
back.
back. Yeah. And
Yeah, but this
I
this
understand what you're saying. Is there something that from 6 years old, maybe she'll come back till
to 12,
whatever
to
our
12,
mom had
yeah,
had a conversation. You don't let a man hit you. You don't
right.
let a man do this. You don't let do that. Yeah, that is interesting because I
Yeah.
wanted to ask her that because I'm also when she comes back, hopefully she'll come back in here. I'm so glad that she's being raw and transparent
I
about
love it.
sharing the
I
story.
love it. I love
And
it.
I did see one of the comments that said that a man, I think a man,
She said,
most men, not all men try to be controlling, but you as a woman need to follow your mind. And I like that, Miss Shirley Jones. And we're not saying that all men are controlling, but we also have to understand the dynamics and the mental and emotional uh, things that go in with domestic violence. You, myself, I might not let nobody hit me. First time they hit me, they gonna get hit back. Somebody going to jail. But some women are not like that because we have to also understand learned behavior, what is going on. I'm glad she shared sometimes low self-esteem, maybe for the first time they didn't show this, and a lot of times domestic violence might not be physical, it might be emotional abuse.
mhm.
And because people want to stay because they want their family to stay together, that they will definitely do that because uh some of the power and control wheel that is always there. Power control is they stay because of the children. That's number one. They stay because people are she says she's back. I don't know if you can get on.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, yeah.
Okay, she's back. Yeah, I got,
There
okay,
she
there
go.
she
There
goes.
she
There
goes.
you go. There you
Let me
go.
run.
There you
Oh, now
go.
we
Yeah,
spoke too soon. She got bad signal going on over there. But I wanted to ask you this, Doc, while Sabrina is trying to get back on. What are some of the services or researches that some of these people, certain ones that experience this, what are some of the services and resources that they have to help them in their recovery?
and this is it. And the first thing is, I always tell people there's a 1-800 number for domestic violence hotline. And I'm just going to give you the national number. So that way, when you call there, they can put you in contact. That's 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. That's the National Domestic Violence Hotline number because a lot of times before the police are even called, abuse is going on. And so I'm not going to get too much technical in this like now, but the police going on the domestic violence call is probably one of the most vital types of calls, because you're going in a situation it's family violence. And so you go in this situation, you know, if the husband or girlfriend or wife or whoever has a gun or whatever as they go into that. And so when a person is arrested for domestic violence, then they usually give them a no contact order. And a no contact order is usually 24 hours something before they go back to court. When they go back to court, they can say whether the judge will release them and say they have to stay away from the victim. You can also get an injunction for protection. That's another service. An injunction for protection or restraining order, and I always tell people, does not stop a bullet. And one of the things that Sabrina said was, and people want to know, is when a victim survivor tries to leave, that is the most dangerous time for her or him. And the reason is because now all of a sudden the perpetrator has no more control over the victim, because now you can't control me anymore, because now I'm getting ready to leave. So now they're losing that control. So you're going to leave me, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill myself. See, that's why people stay. And if you've had a gun pointed to your head in the midnight hour at 12 o'clock, and he said, if you try to leave me, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your mama. I'm going to kill the children. So I'm going to stay because the fear has been put in me that you're going to do this, even though you don't. So now it's a mental game. And so once an injunction protection is given, and they have to go back to court within 14 days to get a permanent. So within those 14 days, he cannot come or she can't come near you. And now all of a sudden, I'm going to do right. I'm coming to court with, you know what I mean, a suit on. I got a Bible. I got the preacher. I got the deacon. I got everybody behind me to say that I have changed. So now that I have changed this, now my heart is, well, maybe it's not that bad. I'm going to give him a second chance, because I don't want my children to blame me for having their father put away, especially if you're married or not married. So that's another reason why they stay. So there are services that are available, and we don't have time now, and we'll do that next week to get on how the church can help. But you have to understand, Jeffrey, I'm a domestic violence victim. You gonna let me come to your house and he done already threatened me? Nah, go on now. Here's a little change and everything gonna be all right. Are you gonna let me in your house? Because now people will see a dog in the middle of the road fighting and put a water hose on them trying to separate. But if you and me fighting, I'm gonna keep my car going. I don't see it. I don't want to get involved, because all of a sudden now I'm getting involved, and Sabrina all of a sudden jumps on me. And that's what happens a lot of times when police officers come to the house.
Wow.
I'm coming to make an arrest. So the victim says, I don't want you to make an arrest. I just want you to stop him from hitting me. But the law says if I come here and there's probable cause, I got to make an arrest. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on a police officer. So now you're going to jail. Because now you have interfered with an investigation. So domestic violence is, I'm not saying all, so please don't type in there with Brother Brown and Sister Bird and Sister Sabrina said that. I'm not saying all, but this is typically how domestic violence call can be, especially now. It's homicide, suicide. I'm going to kill me and I'm going to kill you. I've had a man, I went on a case, and what he did was he was so upset with the wife that he hung himself. So when the children came home, that would be the first thing they could see. And then he left a note, blame the mom. So it's psychological games that are being played. So you ask why the women stay. I'd rather stay like this for my children because I love them enough. Not understanding that children who witness domestic violence are also being harmed also, because it's what? Learned behavior. So yes, so the resources are, yes, the domestic violence hotline, a safety plan. I'm glad that's what she said, and we'll get in that later on. Make a safety plan. If you are not able to leave right now, then what you do is make a safety plan. And usually I tell women, keep stuff at your desk in the office. Instead of going to lunch every day, put $5 in your desk. I had a case, I'm gonna let Sabrina, I'll never forget this case I had in Weston. I had a young lady that we were going to help. I went to her house. We're getting green, hefty trash bags, the ones you put in a 30-gallon, and we're putting stuff in her bag. I have police standing on the outside, making sure that she's going to be all right and he's not coming back. We get in the car. Let me tell you what he did. He disconnected the distributor cap from off the car. So when she got in the car, she still was not able to leave. She broke down and cried. I said, don't worry. So what I did was I put her in my vehicle, my sheriff's office vehicle, and we took her to another house. See, this is power and control. He knew that she would try to leave, but he took things out the car so she couldn't drive it. Had another man that every time his wife went to Walgreens or went somewhere else, he would check the receipt, check the mileage to make sure that if I give you $25 and you
Wow.
went to buy this, I'm
Wow.
gonna check the time you went,
Wow.
the money you gained back, I'm
Wow.
gonna check this shit, I'm gonna check the mileage.
Wow.
These are things that we're talking about that is control. And she was very educated, had good money, do all of that, but she fell into the lifestyle. And yes, I saw somebody said, plan your escape. So when you plan your escape, it's strategic ways that you have to do it. If all of a sudden your boyfriend, somebody's beating you up, and all of a sudden I call you, you'll say, hey, did you know I wanted ice cream tonight? That's a code for you to call the police. If all of a sudden you're riding by the house and the light is on, that's a code, something is wrong with Sabrina. See, these are the little things that you have to do, because even if Sabrina leaves, you're still in bondage. Because off of 17 years or 13 years, I might be free physically, but I'm not free in my mind. So now I got to go through counseling to deprogram myself that I am beautiful, that I am okay. Because he's told me, you're stupid, you're ugly. Ain't nobody gonna ever want you. You can't even manage your own money. You can't even cook right.
Yeah.
So go ahead on, brother Brown.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Sabrina. There's two questions that I want to ask you, but I want to ask you this one. Through those 17 years, I don't know if you're involved or been involved or talking to someone, but are you now? And I've heard stories where it's like once you've gone through that, like a touch from a man, it's just like, ooh, it kind of shakes you. But are you now able to trust that touch of a man? And if so, how long did it take for you to open yourself again? And if not, why?
It took years. I married after that. But what really helped me, Brother Jeff, was I forgave my abuser. I forgave him. As a matter of fact, you won't believe this, but I spoke at his mother and sister's funeral.
Wow.
He's married now, and I know his wife. She called me. We still have each other's numbers. Because once you forgive, it's all over. And she thought he had COVID when and she called me because my sister's a pharmacist and she works with COVID patients. And she called me and she said, I think he has COVID. Could you call your sister? I said, sure, let me call my sister. I said, I'm gonna give you her number and blah, blah, blah. I see them at Publix so often. Hey, how you doing? How y'all doing? Fine. But once I forgave him, I'm done with that. I'm done. Because if you look at it, and most women will probably find this very hard to believe, don't know if Sister Deborah would believe in this, but some of it was my fault because I stayed. And I see a comment where Miss Shirley said, controlling, but as a woman, need to follow your mind. You really don't even know what's in your mind. You don't have your mind. You're not in your right mind. So I couldn't depend on my mind. That's why I stayed. I was very afraid of him. But to go back to you, Brother Jeff, I forgave him. And I don't have any malice in my heart for him. And I spoke very well at the funeral, was looking very pretty, of course. And, his sister died first, and his mom died. I went to the house, Brother Jeff, like us do. After the house, I gave a sympathy card, and I just told him, just pray. And it's a journey of life. I mean, we all have to leave here. And I'm very calm. Now, we don't hold conversations now. We don't call, hey, how you doing? No. But if I see him and his wife at Publix or whatever, and I've seen him, I've seen them recently. How y'all doing? He said, oh, I like your hair. Thanks. And she said, oh, I like your hair. I said, thank you. Because once I forgave him, it's done. It's no malice, no more. And it's over. We're over.
Yeah. So was it tough for you? I'm sorry. But was it tough for you to come to grips and share this with your now
Yeah.
partner?
Yeah.
And when you did, what was your mood? What was your how did you feel rehashing this? Because I'm sure to have that successful marriage, you had to probably share this with him. But how did you feel while you were sharing?
Ashamed.
Mhm.
Um, because when you get out of an abusive relationship, I'm sure Sister Deborah would agree, you tend to look at other men or women the way your abuser was.
Mhm.
And you can't do that. And some women get caught up in that and they're very lonely because they do that. What was my past was my past, but trying to find that balance and sharing that with somebody, I had the mindset, look at me. I get my nails done, my hair done. I got it going on. And I'm going to tell somebody that I allow somebody to beat me. Are you serious? That was very difficult for me. But you have to get past it because everybody is not the same. You cannot say, well, Dave was my abuser, so Jeff gonna be my abuser. No, Dave and Jeff are totally different. But you have to let that out because you hold so much inside of you that you can't be free with a new partner.
Let me ask why you, Serena, did you go through counseling?
For domestic violence, I did not. The
Hmm.
only counseling that I went through, which my mom told me she should have sent me to that. I went to grief counseling when my best friend passed away, but I've never gotten professional counseling for domestic violence. Never.
Okay. 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 All right. It's just interesting because I know for 17 years that is allowed, and I'm glad Brother Jeff brought that out to process that,
Yeah.
to get that out of your system and to look back and say, wow, I went through that, and I'm not going to let anybody else do that to me again.
Right.
And I'm glad that you shared it. And like you said, it's not everybody's story, but it is your story that God and the scriptures help you to forgive, because a lot of people cannot forgive right now, and
Right.
that's something they have to deal with because
Right.
abuse was so bad.
Mhm.
And so I think that it's admirable that you use that through your strength and to look at yourself and say, let me forgive me
Right. That's
for
it.
going through this for 17 years.
Mhm.
And one of the things, because of time, I do want to ask you then with you working in law enforcement at that time and going through this and covering up your bruises. And one thing she said, Brother Jeff, is usually domestic violence when they are physically hit, they call it the bathing suit area from here to here because can't nobody see it. So they might hit you from your neck all the way down because everything else that you're covering. So when she said no one saw the bruises on her, and understanding a lot of times it's emotional abuse because you can't see that. You can't arrest from emotional abuse
Right.
or physical abuse. And so I'm wondering is after when you came out of the situation and that you were at work, did you tell any of your coworkers and they might have said that I saw it, but I didn't want to say anything? Was there anybody who said, I knew something is wrong, but I didn't want to get in your business? Because that's what happens with a lot of domestic violence victims. Go ahead.
Yes. Co-workers. When I left him and went to St. Peter's, I said with my grandparents, and I came back, I had a job at the Miami-Dade County Public Schools Police Department. I went back to work, and I used to answer the phone, and he called and he threatened me, and I had gotten sick and tired of being sick and tired. And he called and he said, "You won't live to see the end of your shift." Now, after all these years, my response was, if you're gonna shoot me, you just make sure that I die today. I had gotten tired of the threats. I had gotten tired of everything. So I went into the chief's office with the office manager, and I told him
Okay.
they had a police car to escort me home, and they had a police car to pick me up for 2 weeks
Mm.
because back in the day, domestic violence wasn't like it is now.
Right.
So, and I always believe that a restraining order, just like you said, is a piece of paper. If you have one, by the time somebody is there and the time the cops get to you, you dead. So I just had gotten sick of him talking to me, threatening me, beating me. I was trying to get my life right, and I just told him. And I had never. See, the thing of it was, I had never spoken to him like that. Out of all those years, I had never defended myself. And he said, "What did you say?" And I was bold enough to repeat it. And I meant what I said. If you're going to shoot me today, make sure I die. because you get sick of tired. You're fed up now. You're done.
You're numb. Yeah,
That's the word I'm looking for.
you're numb.
You're numb. And I went inside and I sat down. And remember, I worked there for 25 years. So I knew everybody in there, the chief and the office manager. I said, I need to talk to you all. They said, okay. And they closed the door and I explained to them. They said, don't worry. We'll get you home and we'll get you here until he stops.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. I listen. Oh wow. I told y'all this was gonna be powerful and engaging, man. Wow. Yeah, hey, listen. I've heard stories, but to hear Sabrina's story, it's touching and engaging. But I have to go back to what you said, Sabrina, some while back. You said you reached for the word. You went back to the word. You went to talk to God. You went to the word to find a word for strength. And I just hear, because when you said that you were able to forgive and let it go and move on, it just came to me where the Bible said, when the Son set you free, you're free indeed. So that's what hit me when you said that you had to let it go.
Mhm.
But his eyes, he was watching over you
Oh
the
yeah.
whole time. The Lord he kept his eyes on. It may not seem like it, but he did, to cover you, to block you, to shield what could have happened.
Yeah.
He blocked it. So I just, that just hit me when you were talking. I'm like, wow. She went back to the word. She started believing in God. She started putting it in God's hand. And he said, who the Son set free is definitely, you're free indeed. So that's why you were able to forgive him and let him go. Y'all, this has been the South Florida Live Podcast. My co-host, Dr. Deborah Howard Burton, and our special guest, Sabrina. We thank you. Thank you. I don't know if there anything else that you want to say, or I'm sorry, y'all. This is my podcast, so I can go. What do you think, Doc, that's important for people to know? What are some things that's very important? I know you share some, but what are some other things that you think that's important for people to know that are out there that's watching? There's some folks watching that's in this situation now. And they're at that place now, and they're about at the door. What are some things that they need to know?
One of the things is, like we said before, and statistics have shown that when a survivor or victim leaves, that's probably the most dangerous time. And one thing that I heard, and I've always quoted this, that I heard that says, we who are rational are asking survivors or victims to make a rational decision at the most irrational time of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would definitely tell people is, the first thing is do a safety plan. And you can go online to find that. Find someone who you can trust until you are ready to leave. Put money away. If you're in an abusive relationship now, fighting for your life, make sure that there's a way that you can escape. Put money away. If you need to call the police, call the police. Make sure you have everything in order. There are agencies. There's Women in Distress that's here in Broward County. There are shelters. It might not be what you're living in now, but I told one person that it is your life that we're trying to help. It might not be where you're living in a 5-bedroom house, something like that, but it's your life until you can get back on your feet. But until you're ready to do that, get your birth certificates, marriage license, copy of your driver's license, copy of bank statements. If you can, give it to somebody you trust. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your dad, maybe it's a good girlfriend. Get those papers ready. Clothes. Let's say every now and then, where you're washing clothes, put a little away, take it over to somebody's house little by little. So when it's time for you to get that money, if you're working right now, put money away. Instead of going to McDonald's all the time, put money away in a jar, put it somewhere where your perpetrator doesn't know about it. And either it's male or female, because female domestic violence, male on male, whatever it might be, have yourself a safety plan. So when it's time for you to leave, that you'll be able to go. We understand restraining orders does not stop a bullet. We understand that. But it does give law enforcement the tools that they need to make an arrest if the perpetrator is near your house. Change your passwords. I'm telling you, you'll be surprised of how many people you don't know are tracking your phone number and your messages. There are apps out there that are showing them how to do that. So as you're typing, they're reading everything. As you're moving, they know when you are. I don't know what app it might be online that there is an app that can tell you if somebody's tracking you or watching your phone. Make sure that you change your passwords. Make sure that if you're on online and you're Googling something, I know they have something incognito, put that on there. These are little things that you can do until you're ready to leave. It's called a safety plan. You can Google it and go online. Start talking to somebody to understand that you are not alone. You're not stupid. You're not dumb. You are just in a situation, and when you've had enough, you'll get out of it. Only thing we can do for those of us who are not in that situation, and if people come to us telling us, do not be judgmental, do not say what you would do if you were them, do not call them stupid, don't call them anything. Listen, and then give them some strategies. Give them some money if they need money. Hey, if you need this, let me give you this so you can get this. Let me give you a card. If you need to go to your mom, let me buy you a bus pass or something until they're able to leave, because your life is most important. I told a victim, if anybody ever says that they're going to kill you, don't ever take that as a joke. I had one client tell me, oh, he only just says that he's just playing. Nobody plays with a gun. Nobody plays and says that this is what I'm going to do. Take those little things serious, even if they're laughing. So those are some of the nuggets that I would give out for somebody who's listening that is not able to leave, but do a strategy plan and a safety plan till you're able to get out.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You have to get that plan and be prepared to. I like that part when you said about wash some of your clothes and take some over to with your friend. But the other thing that stood out to me is that that's not the time to say, girl, I wish I could have, would have, or I told you so. No, that's the time to try and find your friend some help and be helpful on that time. Sabrina, listen, there's a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old you that's watching. Speak to them. Share with them that journey, but what you know, what you didn't know then, tell them what you know now.
Life has so much to offer you as a young adult, as a young female. You have so many opportunities that I didn't have. Exert yourself, read your Bible, exert yourself in your work, get your education. Love can wait. Don't rush it. Enjoy your life. If you're in an abusive relationship, get out of it. Do what Dr. Deborah said. Get an exit plan and get out of it. Life is too short. God is too good. And life is too beautiful to even accept anything less than what and who you deserve to be treated like, which is a queen. That's who you are. And if anybody tell you that you're not, don't listen to them. And hold fast to the word of God. And you should be okay.
Wow, that was good. That was good. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say my little piece. But not only that, but I like to see and Dr. Howard Burton, we talked about it. I like to see the church get more involved, get more active, in this area. We push breast cancer awareness night now, and don't get me twisted, because I just had that last Tuesday, and I honor that too, and I honor those. I've been close to those that have gone through it, but we really don't spend the time and push that much in the church. I'm talking with the domestic violence, because y'all, let me come in close. Some of your pew partners are experiencing it, and don't even know it, and you don't know it. Some of you know it, but your pew partner is experiencing. So I would like to see the church get more involved some programs, and I know it's tough because everybody don't want to talk about it, but there's some like Sabrina that don't mind sharing her testimony, sharing her journey, and sharing her options of what now to do, what she didn't know then. So, church, yes, I said it. I said it, Doc. Yeah, I said it. That's me. So that's how I feel. That's my opinion. Now Howard Burton didn't say it. Sabrina didn't say it. I said it.
That's all right.
Yeah, church, get involved. Ladies, thank you. Thank you so much for this evening. I appreciate it so much. It has been so engaging. Yeah, Bree, you almost got me there. You almost got me. I had my towel, girl. You almost got me. So hey, once again, thanks for everyone that's been viewing, everyone that made comments, that was engaging, that was a part of this podcast, this episode on tonight. Thank you. Once again, ladies, thank you. Dr. Burton, thank you. Sabrina, thank you. I love y'all. And we're going to continue to lift you up, Sabrina, in prayer. And we're going to, we got you covered too. So thank you once again. And peace and blessings to you both.
Thank you.
Take care. Wonderful evening. Thank you.
Hey, y'all, you've been locked into the South Florida Live podcast. And I just got to give them this. Yes. This has been a powerful evening on tonight. Once again, thank for everyone that made comments, that was engaging, that viewed us on tonight. Once again, thank you again. Hey, don't miss next Tuesday. We're coming back next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Set your calendars, set your alerts for next Tuesday on the 22nd. We'll be doing it again. We have another survivor that we're going to talk to and have the conversation with on next Tuesday. And so you don't want to miss it. On next Tuesday, I think it was Sister Thomas. I think I saw her on tonight, but you don't want to miss that episode on next Tuesday as well. Join me tomorrow. It's the singles edition, 7 p.m. You don't want to miss it. We got some stuff we want to talk about that single journey, dating God's way. So those singles that's watching tonight, come on back tomorrow at 7 p.m. All right. Thank you, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Once again, if you want to be a support to this podcast, you are very welcome. The information is down at the bottom of the screen. Cash App is $ Power of Glory 777, $ Power of Glory 777. Our Zelle is Jeffrey Brown 2094 at gmail.com. Jeffrey Brown 2094 at gmail.com. That's Jeffrey Brown, JFFERY Brown 2094 at gmail.com. Thank you so much for everyone listening. Hey, listen, as I always say before I leave, hey, listen, I'll pray for you. Hey, y'all, I'm telling y'all, keep praying for me. I feel the prayers because my back is loosening up. And I'll pray for you. You pray for me, and let's watch God change things. Hey, God bless you.
Email your idea for show topics to the South Florida Live Show at gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in to South Florida Live with your host, Jeffrey Brown.